Okay, so I have this pile of clothes that I am fixing / altering for my friends, and I figured, I have a massive pile of clothes myself, a big ol' honkin' pile that I need to do myself. I mean, yeet. Let it rain, clear it out, let it rain. Yeah. Anyways, I have a massive pile that I am determined to get through. Before it swallows me whole, that is, anyways. Okay, after I clean up that mess I made, I'm just gonna try to get to it, but I just always put off this type of projects and start creative ones, and yeah, that's why it's so big. I am starting with my friend's clothes first because I am responsible and I have to be held responsible for this, and I can't put off her clothes, but I could put off my clothes. So she had a lot of rips in some of her clothes, so I'm just trying to fabric glue the frayed edges down. And while that is drying, I'm going to start with these pants. What she wanted is to take them in so they're not as loose on the legs. So what I had to do was mark where she wanted them taken in while she tried them on inside out. And as you can see here, I sloppily marked it with Crayola chalk. The next step of this process is to seam rip the hem on the pants. And trigger warning, I had to seam rip a lot throughout this entire video. But after that's done, the next step I do is to straighten up that line I marked and just bring it all the way down so I could easily sew along it. So I was sewing and I committed the cardinal crime of altering pants on the inseam. And that is to make sure it's flat and you don't have a wrinkle in the side seam. I don't know if you could tell. Okay, let me show you. Oh, I literally told myself not to do that, and I did it anyways. Okay, so here's this side that I sewed. You can see the black line. The other side, and as you can see, I accidentally got this big old lump in my seam, and when you put it on, it will look really bad because it'll have this weird anyways, learn from my mistakes. I have to seam rip this, and I hate seam ripping. I hate it. But alright, anyways, let's get back to the program here. I wish I didn't do this, then I might have been done by now. Yeah. Okay, moral of the story is to make sure the pants are flat when it goes through the sewing machine so you don't get any extra wrinkles. And to also go easy on the caffeine, Liv. Anyways, after I fixed that new inseam, I cut off the extra fabric if there was any bunching up in there. And then I finished the hem again by just using some stitch witchery and ironing it down so it kind of like fuses it together. I just really didn't want to sew a blind hem stitch or whatever that's called. So yeah, those pants are considered done. Now I'm moving on to these pink workout leggings, and on one of the leg holes, the finishing serging type of stitch was coming undone, and it was just a big old mess, and so I decided to pick all of that off on both of the legs and refinish it with a mock serge-ish, wow, that's a word, stitch from my regular sewing machine, and just kind of go for the same kind of look and just give it more security than just a plain unfinished raw edge. And I had to use black thread because I didn't have this color, but I think it still looks good and it still has a good amount of stretch and should be functional. So yeah, these are considered done. And we're moving on to the next item of clothing, which is this army green military style skirt, which is cute. The only complaint was a little kind of gap and hole down by where the zipper meets the rest of the skirt. And let me tell you something, I do not trust this zipper with my friend's backside. Let me just tell you, it would be under some stress, if you know what I mean. Anyways, so my approach was to kind of work my way around that area with the sewing machine as inconspicuously as possible, just to make sure it's nice and secure and there's no weird pucker when she puts it on. And so yeah, I just kind of fiddled with this around until I got it somewhat secure. And now I'm finished with this skirt. Next up, we have a hot mess pair of pants, and there is rips all over this thing, and it's this chiffon that's so finicky and just really frayy. And these pants have 4 draping panels that kind of look like an octopus. It's actually a really cool design, but almost all of them are fraying. So what I did was fabric glued them down, and I'm just going to try and make them look a little nicer. Also in the back by the zipper, one of the panels had ripped all the way up to the top, and so I made the executive decision to cut the other side all the way up. It's just the top layer of the pants, and so that it would be hanging down from the waist instead of at the bottom of the zipper, because I don't think there was any way I could have fixed that without making a whole new pair. Anyway, so now I just sewed up the zipper a little bit more to get rid of that fray mess, and now I'm going to hem the sides of that panel to kind of hide that fray mess. Now I think I'm just going to introduce this pants as the fray, because that's pretty much what they are at this point. So after giving them a good iron, I did a little rolled hem all along that back panel thing that I was talking about, and at each V where the panels were, there was a fray. So what I did was just make the V a little longer by sewing the 2 panels together longer. So I did that on all the other sides where the fray was. So finally, these pants are done, and I'm so happy with how they turned out. I mean, it's not gonna ever be 100% of what they were when it's broken like that, but at least they'll be a little bit better than completely ripped. Next up, we have that polka dot blouse, and don't ask me why I did that. I was really caffeinated. Anyways, the only thing wrong with this blouse was just a little hole, so I decided to fold the button rim back on the shirt and sew a new line down those 2, and then just top stitch it over to make it look all nice and like it was supposed to be like that. So yeah, just have sewed it in a little teeny bit on that side, and voila, it looks almost as good as new, and I'm really thrilled with how this one turned out. And ye doggies, my friend's stack of clothes is done. Ooh, 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 yeah, 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 yeah. Oh wait, I realized I have a huge stack to go of my own clothes. Here it is a couple days later, and I am regretting starting this, or I guess resenting. Maybe both. But, you know, I'm just gonna try to get through it and just bust it out. Alrighty, we're gonna go to maximum overdrive here. Shout out if you know what I'm talking about. Anyways, I have this golden fleece-like fabric thing that I want to hang on my wall, and so I got it at the thrift store, and it had this raw edge, so I'm just cutting that bad boy off, making sure it's straight, and doing a little rolled hem around all of it, and that's what it looks like when it is done. Yah yee. First thing done. Boom. I have these reusable bags that got some holes in it, so what I'm doing is just fixing the holes by sewing over where the seam ripped. So yeah, here I am doing that, and boom, another thing done. Then I have this parody shirt that is like extra large, but so I want it to be cinched in at the waist a little bit, and I want to match that little ruffle on the front. So what I do is first make everything nice and straight and give it a little rolled hem all the way around the bottom. After that, I measure elastic around my waist, cut that bad boy off, and I marked it several places on the shirt, so a quarter of the way around the shirt and a half and 3/4, and the same on the elastic, so I could do the pulling while sewing stretching elastic method. So yeah, I'm just going all around the shirt and making this cute little ruffle. That's how it turned out, and boom, I'm done with this. Oh yeah. Next up to this plate is this super cute and silky dress. And I needed to take it in, especially at the top, because it was really wide on me. So I just tried it on inside out and marked it where I wanted it to be taken in at. And then I went ahead and cleaned up that line, making sure to smooth it in with the existing side seams. And I sewed it down, and once it was done, I cut off all that extra material and used an overlock stitch to keep the edges from fraying. And that's what it looks like when it is done. Oh yeah. And it fits me a lot better now, and boom, I'm cutting through these. I'm excited. Next, I have this cute skirt that fits me pretty well. The only thing I want different is the leg slit to be a little bit higher and this weird little flappy flap thing to just sit down because the way it fits my body, it kind of sticks out. So the first thing I do is pick apart the slit a little bit, reinforce that stitch, and then just stitch down that flap. And wow, it's done now and it is really nice and we're really blowing through these. And next up we have these rust-colored pants, and I wanted to take the hem out so that there's more length to it, but the sides were not sewn down for some reason. So all I need to do is zip up these sides and then just bring the raw edges up once. Before doing that, I gave it a good overlock stitch, and then I just used some stitch witchery to melt it all down and just give it one little hem / cuff, and it gave me a whole extra like 2 inches, so they no longer look like capris on me. And now we have these cool olive green fancy pants, and all I wanted to these was a permanent kind of roll at the bottom so I didn't have to keep rolling it. All I did was use some stitch witchery on that. I'm not going to throw these ones over because I spent a long time making them really perfect, so I'm just gonna fold them nice and neat and then be done with them. Let's go. Okay, so it's been a couple days. By a couple days, I mean about a week or so, and I'm not done with my alteration / fixation pile yet, but I am determined to finish it today. I have a billion projects going at once. I don't know if anybody else is like that, but yeah, sometimes you just have to shove in another project right in between the one you don't want to do, which is alterations. Okay, we're in the home stretch now, and we're gonna go into double maximum overdrive. I have these cute kind of plaid pants that my mom handed down to me, and part 50 of I hate seam ripping, and I have to seam rip this hem on this pants, and I don't like doing that, but here I am doing it because I want nice pants. Anyway, so I'm doing that same take-in process, and you just mark it, and you sew it, and you take it in, and I think I explained this to you before, but here I am just making that line nice and straight, and then cutting off the excess after I sewed it down, and now I'm fixing the hem again, and yeah, that's what it looks like when it is done, and it's not so boxy anymore. We're almost done, but with these pants, they are just so big around the waist that I need to really take them in. At first, I had the idea of trying to use elastic just on the back side, so I measured it out and tried to do the stretch and stitch method, but it just turned out to not be enough. So, I would now like to introduce to you something that I like to call the DGAF, Don't Give a Fluff Intake. Pretty much what I'm describing here is just to take the entire waistband and top of the pants and fold it in on itself and just sew it down so that it curves to your body, and you don't really have a regard for how the back of the pants look, but maybe a little bit, but you're just really just going to intake it and just not care. So here what I'm doing is folding it right sides together and sewing like a little triangle, almost like you're sewing a dart right on the top of the waistband, just so it cinches into my body more. This is what it looks like when it is done. It kind of just looks like an extra dart in there. The only thing is you have a little bit of puckering on the inside, but these are both things that I don't mind and would rather trade for a perfect pair of fitting pants that I don't have to completely deconstruct and reconstruct. And these pants just got chopped. Now we're going to be doing a lot of intakes and a lot of DGAFing on these pants, and this is one of them. Here I just did it on the side seam to blend it in a little bit more so there's not 2 random darts in the back. But yeah, it turned out pretty good. You can't even see the bulge when I put it on. That was a simple fix. Now it's time to whisk these away. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It was an accident. I got carried away. Yeah, it happens a lot, I know. Yeah, I know, sometimes I get too hyper. And the last pair of pants, whoop whoop! These are absolutely massive on me. I don't know what I was thinking buying a size 16 at the thrift store. Anyways, I first do a DGAF intake on the side seams, making sure not to completely close off the pocket, and then I sew on a cool antique button that I had because it was also missing a button. My last wish for these pants is to just taper them at the ankles, and I was starting that process and undoing the hem, and I found some nasty stuff in there. And I don't know what it is. It's like some dust and some grime, and it's even worse because I thrifted these, so you know it's not your grime, it's somebody else's. And now I'm finishing up my pants just like I did all the other ones I took in, and I'm done with that. Woo, my last pair of pants. I'm so excited with how these ones turned out. Y'all yeet. And woohoo! My massive procrastination, alteration, and fixation pile is done. Now I just have to give you guys a little montage. I'm also so hyper because I drink a massive matcha. Okay. And I'm just gonna try to crank it out. Bing bong, bing bong, bing bong, bing. Look, I'm Liv. I didn't know Liv modeled that good. No shit.